bankruptcy. The company's French server provider came calling for money owed to them, again with the French, you know. Now Blade is seeking outside investment to stay afloat. Blade says the Shadow streaming service shouldn't be affected by these events and that they were a victim of their own success, as well as the French. Asus launched the ROG Phone 5 today, complete with not one, but 2 USB ports and a whopping 18 gigabytes of LPDDR5 RAM.
Like more than a MacBook.
Yeah. More phones with chunky RAM might be on the way too, as SK Hynix is mass producing those 18 gigabyte modules, which you're gonna need to attend those Fortnite concerts on mobile with the 30-story high character models of the current most popular rapper, that's DaBaby.
Sicko mode, let's go!
Russia didn't like the way that Twitter was allowing people to post horrible things like spreading the word about opposition protests, so the country tried to throttle the social platform. It appears they kind of bungled the operation and ended up slowing down their entire internet instead.
That's on Russia.
See, if Twitter would just listen and censor things the way Russia wants, they wouldn't have to skip out on NASA's moon base and work with China on making their own moon base with space blackjack and moon hookers. Actually, it sounds great. NFTs, or non-fungible tokens, are all the rage right now because they allow artists to sell digital art as if it's a physical object, sort of. Well, users of the digital platform ArtStation don't want in on the action, as the platform was forced to backpedal on its plan to implement NFTs after user backlash. Maybe because the whole idea of them doesn't make any sense?
Shut your mouth.
But neither does paying $8 million for but would you pay $8 million for a freaking painting?
How good's the painting?
Oh, Linus is a big fan.
I will sell the original Linus face meme picture.
Okay, now they make sense. They make a lot of
I
sense.
don't even know if Linus has the rights to that.
Yeah, what? And HTC has announced the new facial tracker for its Vive VR headset, which will allow users to map their mouth movements onto digital avatars in VR. So VTubers can seem a little more like they're a real life anime girl, and this is a timeline we all want to live in, right?
I'm a real fake girl.
HTC has also announced smaller and lighter Vive trackers for $129, but if that's too much, you can also check out the open source Stonks body trackers, made by a Swedish team for about 80 bucks. That's where I'm putting my money. I think it's a good investment. Time to stop putting more tech news in this video because it's over. Come back on Friday for more tech news. I'm sure there will be more on the prompter by then. It just appears, and we just do what it says. Please, let me go.
This is the fastest gaming GPU on the face of the planet. The ROG Strix.
What did NVIDIA expect? That people would hear it's unhackable and then be like, oh, okay, I'll just pack up my things and go.
This is the fastest gaming GPU on the face of the planet. The ROG Strix GeForce RTX 3090 White Edition. And it is so flippin' gorgeous that when Asus hit us up asking if we wanted to check it out, I was like, yeah, but not right away. I gotta pull out all the stops. We need all white power supply, all white cooler, all white case. We are going full white out for this build, and it is going to be gorgeous. Oh, what about our sponsor Indeed? Glasswire. With Glasswire, you can instantly see your current and past network activity, detect malware, and block badly behaving apps on your PC or Android device. Use offer code Linus to get 25% off Glasswire at the link below. No, I lied. We gotta put that away. It's the most painful part of pretty much any gaming build. You've got your shiny, sexy GPU, and you don't even get to touch it until you've done all of the work. It might not be up to the crazy premium standards of some of the other components we're using for the build, but the Prime X570 Pro from Asus is a really solid board. It's got full support for PCI Express Gen 4 thanks to its X570 chipset. It's got 4 USB 3. Whatever it is, 10 gigabit per second ports, and it's got 2 M.2 PCI Express Gen 4 storage ports. So realistically, when it comes to gaming performance, there are no compromises here, with the one thing that's kind of missing for me being higher speed networking. It's only got gigabit LAN. We're gonna be pairing it, of course, with a Ryzen 9 5950X. The very same one that you've seen in every video we've done featuring the 5950X, because these things are rarer than hen's teeth. And why wouldn't they be? With 16 cores, 32 threads, and turboing up to 4.9 gigahertz, these things are the absolute pinnacle of what AMD can fit in a consumer socket. For system memory, we've gone with an utterly overkill 128 gigs of G.Skill Trident Zenio 3600 megahertz, which I have been informed recently is called the juicer. So, 1 juicer, 2 juicer, 3 juicer, and we're gonna wedge in that 4th juicer, little something like that. As for the reason we've gone with these juicers instead of something more exotic like 4000 megahertz memory, it comes down to AMD's Infinity Fabric. You want to run at a 1-to-1 ratio between the Infinity Fabric and your memory. And unfortunately, on a lot of Ryzen 5000 CPUs, you can't push your Infinity Fabric all the way to 2000 megahertz, which means if you want to run 4000 megahertz RAM, you actually have to run at a 1-to-2 ratio, which slows down your Infinity Fabric, meaning you got to go way higher in terms of memory speed to yield any benefit. So we've gone with 3600 megahertz, which means we only have to get the CPU's Infinity Fabric to 1800 megahertz. As for the CL16 latency, well, it's not super impressive, but remember, these are 32 gig modules, so it's pretty good. As for storage, we've gone zero excuses, absolute top of the flippin' line with Samsung's 980 Pro 2 terabyte PCI Express Gen 4 SSD. This thing uses MLC flash for excellent endurance and performance and has a new generation controller from Samsung, giving it read speeds of over 7 gigabytes per second. Oh, it's hot. It's hot. The performance is hot. Don't worry, I threw it somewhere safe and delicate, gentle. It's a good mouse pad there, 3.5 millimeters thick, lttstore.com. This thing is crazy balls to the wall. I mean, it's got 2 gigs of DDR4 memory. It's basically a computer not that long ago. And that's yet another way we're going absolutely top of the line with our cooling. This is the iCUE H150 Elite Capellix. I don't know why it's called the Capellix, but what I do know is that it is snow white, absolutely top to freaking bottom, and that really was the only requirement. Yeah, I'm not really sure what else there is to tell you about this thing, other than that this is Corsair's latest generation all-in-one design. It's got RGB integrated into the pump, so it's gonna look absolutely freaking awesome. And it fits perfectly in our iCUE 5000X RGB case. You know what's kind of crazy though, Brandon, is as good as this system's gonna look, we are actually not spending that much of our budget on the aesthetics. Like, yeah, $210 US. It's not a cheap case, but it's also not crazy expensive, especially considering that you get 3 of Corsair's excellent RGB fans included in the package. Yeah, I mean, the pre-done wiring for the front panel connectors, the built-in fan hub, the RGB, not bad for 200 bucks, Corsair. Although naturally, for a machine of this caliber, we have not gone that route. Meet the ROG Strix 850 watt white edition. That's right, it's clean. Now I know, 850 watt power supply, RTX 3090, might not be ideal, but it should be enough as long as this particular unit can handle those current spikes that we see from RTX 30 series cards. And the reality of it is, you guys may or may not have noticed this, but there's like a mining situation going on out there, cryptocurrency. Power supply is 1000 watt and over. You basically just can't get them. So we're gonna put that in there. There it is. Yeah, 850 watt. I wouldn't call it a fatal flaw, but one potential downer of this case is that once your power supply is in there, it is basically impossible to get these thumb screws to loosen the hard drive cage. And furthermore, if you want to install hard drives and you have a even pretty reasonable sized power supply, you pretty much cannot install your modular cables after the fact. So I'm probably just going to pull the hard drive cage out since I'm not going to need a 3.5-inch drive. That's better. That's not room A, room B, room C, or room D. That's room E. Get it? It's roomy. Now it's time to pop our motherboard in. Dang, that is looking good. One thing I really like though is Corsair is using a much bigger nubbin to hold the motherboard than before, and it's really easy to keep it in place and build upright like this, which I personally do prefer. This is a pretty roomy case. For my cooler configuration, I'm just gonna pull out my fan filter over here. I've gone with a push configuration, meaning I'll be able to see all that smexy RGB from the inside of the system. So the rad's gonna go right there. It's all set up correctly so that the Corsair logo is gonna be right side up. Not that I couldn't move it around if I really wanted to. You can actually pop this plate off and reconfigure it, but now I don't have to, see? One little trick in this setup though is gonna be RGB. Now I thought I was gonna be able to use the pre-installed RGB hub for these fans because they're all Corsair. The problem is that there's one RGB component I did not account for, and that is the CPU block. So for that reason, I'm gonna have to swap out this RGB controller for this one. Fortunately, this is 6 channels and should have support for the integrated fans, so it's just a matter of popping this out, and then plugging the CPU block into this little controller plug here. You know, we were having an interesting conversation before you guys showed up. How fast, like if we teamworked it, got it down, how fast could we build a PC? Maybe there's like a world record to be set in there, or like we could do like a team challenge. What do you think? Is that a video?
Scrapyard work?
Get subscribed so you don't miss it. That's gonna be a video, we're doing it. There is a little bit of like pass-through airflow from this fan over here. There's a lot of heat pipe on this thing. It's kind of hard to see over here, but like, look at this, plus a vapor chamber. Man, this thing is so freaking heavy and big. It's actually got a triple slot cooler on it, okay? But there's only a dual slot backplate on it, so I've only got to take out 2 of these backplate covers here. You know what, I think I kind of found the one fatal flaw in this case. I otherwise really like it. I think it looks like a fantastic deal. It's got this cable management shroud thing here, and the problem is that the GPU sits like right on top of it. So you either have to come over it like this, or you gotta come under it like this, which kind of interferes with the fan. Back cable management already looks, you know, pretty darn good. And then we go ahead,
Just get rid of all of it?
put this puppy on here. Yeah, all that work you were doing, totally pointless. There it is, boom. Dang, that looks so slick. Like that's the nice thing about a white interior is that instead of the RGB looking like kind of harsh, it has kind of like a softness to it, you know? Because it's like RTX on, you know? Global illumination. You got the light bouncing. Wow, that is a good looking machine. Honestly, this case is really impressive. I had not seen it in person before. They've done a great job of maintaining like that clean tempered glass aesthetic, but then making sure that Steve from Gamers Nexus won't rip them a new one for not having any airflow by like putting a big vent on the side. Everything else about this, I think we can probably crank. Ooh, screen space reflection quality, we're turning it to Psycho. Remember, we're running at 1080p here. High refresh rate monitor, so. Ultra ray trace light. No, Psycho ray traced lighting. There we go. Don't need any of that DLSS. Oh. Except when it doesn't, because that looks real smooth right about now. I mean, oops. RTX 3090 at 1080p. Even Cyberpunk bows to it. Yeah, that's G-Sync hard at work right there, because it actually is not running at that many frames per second. We're sitting around 60 frames per second. Feels really good. It's really consistent. Like our 99th percentile is like 54 right now, 51. Oh, if we put DLSS on quality, this is gonna look nutty. Okay, quality DLSS. Hold on, let's just see what that looks like. That's real smooth. Like we're running at 100 frames per second. That is fine for a Site CE game like this. Man, that looks so good. I know, right? I mean, I'm not gonna say that it's worth the performance penalty in all situations, but there is no denying that real-time ray tracing can look really, really good. Wow, these guys can take a lot of bullets. Wait, how'd the cops get here so fast? Press X to not die. Oh, still died. Just like I'd die if I didn't tell you about our sponsor, Micro Center. Get the best prices and best selection on PC hardware like this at any of Micro Center's 25 locations across the United States. You can check out their custom PC builder to configure the best custom PC for your price point and For a fee, you can check Same Day Pro Assembly, and their expert in-store technicians will put the PC together for you. And they don't just have PCs, they've got all kinds of technology in store, so go check them out today and follow the link in the video description for a free 32 gig flash drive and 32 gig micro SD card, valid in-store only, no purchase necessary. If you guys enjoyed this build and you just enjoy kind of like sick rigs that Jake planned, hey, why not go check out the Copper water cooling PC? Yeah, it was all white and copper tubing cooled. Copper tubing.
All right, how about this? China's richest man is not who you think it is. We spoke about how Jack Ma came down the list a little bit after whatever little brush up he had, trying to go take the Ant situation to the IPO, to the public markets, and then getting that shut down. I don't know what it was supposed to be, billions, a few $1 billion. So he came down the list, I think, to number 4 when we talked about it. And then I started to wonder about this guy who was at the top, China's new richest man for now, and what it was he was doing. We're talking about water, bottled water. You wouldn't imagine that business would be easy to dominate. Seems like a fairly ubiquitous item. Anyway, China's richest man, Nongfu Spring billionaire, Zhong Shanshan, the bottled water and pharmaceuticals entrepreneur that's wealthier than Jack Ma. He is now worth $68.5 billion according to Bloomberg's Billionaire Index. And he was actually briefly Asia's richest person, ranked above Mukesh Ambani after Nongfu's IPO in late 2020. So you would expect, if we were talking about Chinese billionaires, you would start thinking about guys like Jack Ma. You would start thinking about companies like Tencent and others. You would think technology. In the meantime, you should have been thinking about bottled water.
Yeah, he got it all wrong.
But, I mean, there's still plenty of technology dudes up in that list. However, for, I guess, the marketplace for these types of goods, there's a lot of opportunity there. As more people are beginning to consume such a thing. Nestle is an enormous company. They do some bottled water themselves, don't they? So listen to this. In 2007, Zhang succeeded in establishing the idea that weak alkaline water can improve your health. And in 2008, he branded Nongfu Spring as helping to connect consumers with nature through their water. All the marketing tactics, sell a few bottles of water, become the richest man in China. Will, what are you doing here?
Yeah. Yep.
Have you heard this company Canoe with the EVs?
I saw this story just today.
Okay.
I'd never heard of them.
Of course you did. This is a very futuristic looking truck. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of... I'm not sure if I'm fond of the look, but it is one of the most futuristic trucks I've seen outside of the Cybertruck. And with a totally different approach. Just as far as imagining, like if you were to imagine, Will, you're making a video game set in the future, you might draw a truck like that.
Yeah, they have very simple shapes.
Interesting.
So this is what?
The
Delivery
MPDV.
vehicle.
I kind of want that. That looks cool.
Yeah, that looks.
I could get a lot of cargo in there.
Utility.
That's very Cybertruck though. That's more straight lines.
Uh-huh.
But oh, you know what? I have seen this vehicle. I've seen the lifestyle vehicle because it was on Jay Leno's show, on Jay Leno's Garage.
Oh yeah.
He went for a ride in that. It's kind of funny. It's like the entire cabin is open.
Oh.
It's not typical seats. It's like a bench. You'll be able to see here, almost like a taxi or something.
Oh.
And they had some kind of a strange ownership model for that, where
Is that a yoke?
it might be a yoke. Yeah, they had a strange ownership model where I think you just book it, or you pay monthly. You pay monthly. You don't own it. Something like it's a subscription model,
Okay.
which is kind of interesting. It has no screen. You have to bring your own device. Yeah, very interesting company out there in California. You could watch the Jay Leno episode for more on this one. But anyway, they're going to do a truck as well. Look at his tables in the back, Will. You could have a picnic over there.
Yeah. Or conference.
Yeah, look, man. A lot of things happening in transportation. You don't know where it's going to go. But anyway,
projector.
I think the truck actually looks cooler. It's apparently going to be out in 2023. It has the cab all the way forward, sitting all the way at the front. So it's almost like their van-looking vehicle, but instead with a bed as opposed to extra cabin space. Executive Chairman Tony Aquila said in a statement that this truck is as strong as the toughest trucks out there and is designed to be exponentially more productive. We made accessories for people who use trucks on the job, weekends, and adventures. Go back to the original post, Will, so that they can get a better look at some of these truck photos. Yeah, if you scroll down, like, look at
This is like the wilderness.
But, like, it's cool how they did the bed. The bed has LED lighting all the way around. And you see how it has a table over there on the side where the person put the coffee mug or whatever it is?
Yeah.
The thermos. And then also you have the doors that open kind of, what are those, like barn doors style open? Like not,
Sure.
The tailgate doesn't just, it comes down, but then also these other doors open out. Like you have options. Plus they got the roof rack on it and they got the off-road tires on that particular model. I mean, she got a nice fire going on. That's a whole thing there. I see a tent in the bottom left corner.
It's kind of lit on the...
I know. The LED lighting is a thing. That's what they're saying. We got stuff going on that truck owners actually want. Specs promise more than 200 miles of range. Obviously, it's electric. Up to 600 horsepower. Towing capacity or payload capacity, 1,800 pounds. It's going to be taller than Tesla's Cybertruck. Shorter than the new Hummer EV. And it will be shorter, but it will have a pull-out bed extension, bringing the total length to 213 inches. So bed extensions are nice. I've had them in the past. I don't have one on the current truck, but that's where you may recall in the old truck where you had that thing where you could flip it out and then leave the tail down, and all of a sudden you got an extra foot.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one looks like it's actually built right in, and it's not a special gate, but instead it looks like the whole bed actually extends. So that's very cool. I'm glad, man. It's so much cool stuff happening in EVs. Who knows? Well, we may even get one in studio.
Yeah.
It's possible.
I'll work on it.
We may get one in studio. I like how I tell you, like it's just a random possibility, and you're like, no, I'll take care of it.
Yeah.
How about this? Well, behold the world's first water-cooled PlayStation 5. You must have seen this already. I know you got your finger on the pulse.
Yeah.
Well, don't brag about it, though.
I didn't read the article and how they did it. I just saw the image.
Okay, image in the headline. Well, actually, this image, it's weird that they use this image because the water-cooled version doesn't look like that at all.
No.
They posted a video. It's a 13-minute video from a Vietnamese channel called Modding Cafe. And actually, the video, it's got, like, style to it. It's kind of...
Oh, yeah?
Kind of wild the way the thing goes. I'm sure they don't mind us shouting them out because you should definitely go and watch it yourself. But they start with a stock PS5, and then if you skip maybe halfway through the video here, right around there, you can see what they've built. This giant block on the side, liquid cooling, flowing, these custom side panels. Like, it's a really nice finished product. It kind of looks like a custom gaming PC at a point, but they did it all to a PlayStation with RGB and patterns. And, well, you know the benefit with the liquid cooling, Willie do. You keep it quiet. You keep it cool. And you
can mine off of it.
Hey, man, easy. But you also, you shrink it a little bit somehow. It's amazing how much smaller it can get. Now, I granted the design style they went with didn't necessarily maximize or I guess minimize the footprint. However, they could have, if they wanted, just shrunken it as much as possible.
Sure.
The main core components were able to shrink down quite a bit because you didn't have to have as much space in there to deal with cooling by air. They also have a results summary. They were able to improve the thermals substantially, which, well, that's the case on PC with water cooling, isn't it? Of course, you're here for the looks, and what do you say about the looks, Will?
Yeah, they did a good job at the polish of it.
You're a
They
big
have,
fan.
like, little logos cut out.
What would
It's
you
nice.
pay? What would you pay for something like that?
I would pay quite a pretty penny there. Quite a lot.
Would you?
I
That
would, yeah.
surprises me.
Good job, guys.
Okay, well, some other options. Of course, you can link up with our friends at D-Brand and get yourself the dark plates if you just want to do a basic customization, or you can go nuts and do one of these 24 karat gold PS5s for, I don't know, 10 grand.
Oh, right.
Probably don't do that one, but this one's a good idea if you just want to go with a matte black finish on a PlayStation 5, or you follow this sort of DIY if you're absolutely insane and do some water cooling on your PlayStation 5. But I mean, you got to give these guys a big time shout out because that ain't easy, that stuff, man. Anyway, this is the last story since we don't have a Willie Do wild card. This is some Uber riders. I don't understand this. Will, I don't get this really. Why are the riders in Uber vehicles always so in these type of clips? Why are they always so aggravated? Have you seen these clips? It's on the dash cam, and the Uber drivers just doing their thing, and then the people in the back are, I don't know, doing something wrong, and then the Uber driver's like, you know what? Can you please get out of the vehicle? I don't want to give you a ride. And then the people, they flip out.
Yeah.
They flip out. I'm just trying to imagine myself now. Maybe I'm not that.
As a passenger or the Uber driver?
Well, either.
Okay.
No, I mean, in this case, I meant passenger. But I don't understand the issue. If you got an issue with this guy that's driving to begin with, you're aggravated. Why don't you want to get out of the car and catch another ride? If they want you out of their car, why do you want to stay in it? Like, that's so much tension. Why don't you be like, okay, cool, we disagree. Whatever our issue was, I guess this is not, obviously, well, you wouldn't have clips like this if that's what people were doing. This clip takes it to another level because I'm guessing what happened here. He was upset that the one girl was refusing to wear the mask.
Oh.
And then she goes on to cough on him on purpose and say she has COVID, and she's coughing on him, and then she rips his mask off.
Oh.
And then she takes his phone.
Oh.
And it's really rough. I mean, play the clip. Go ahead, play the clip. You tell me what's going on, man.
Is there audio?
Yeah, there's audio. Play the clip. Yeah. What do you want? You want me to turn it up? I got audio.
Okay.
Play the clip.
No, fuck the mask. Fuck the mask. And I got corona. Yeah, what's up? Fuck you too. What you gonna do? What the hell? My property. You have to get your ass for shit. Now you gotta get people fucked up.
Like, I can't. I don't get it. I actually don't get it. I understand people have quarrels with one another. People don't agree. I don't understand why you want to get into it with the Uber driver. Of all the things.
Broke the mask too.
He's just driving a car. Like, how does this even transpire? If he's saying to me, you know, I don't like the fact that you don't have the mask. And I think what they were arguing is you should have told us that before we got in or something. I believe that was the argument. There's another video clip from the back seat. But I don't see it. For me, I'm like, okay, fine. Never mind. You don't have the business then. I'll go with somebody else, right? But it's just, people are so frustrated and close to conflict. A complete stranger in a car, no backstory. And then to take it to the degree of taking a phone
violence
basically violence
assault.
And coughing on a person, and I mean, I know people are frustrated these days especially, but it's just I mean, it sucks to watch, really. Now, granted, the driver has got the recording, so there have actually been assault charges, I believe, filed. Yeah, one has been arrested for assault. Malaysia King. And that doesn't seem worth it for that individual either. I mean, everybody loses here.
Yeah.
The San Francisco Police Department says Malaysia King is in custody. She reportedly is the woman wearing red in a viral video showing the riders coughing and snatching the driver's phone and mask. So that's actually not the girl that did the most. The girl on the right did, and I guess they haven't found her to arrest her yet. Oh, yeah, they're looking. Law enforcement says another suspect, Arna Kimiai, told SFPD through her lawyer that she plans to turn herself in soon. This went down.
Hold on for a second.
This went down on Sunday in San Francisco, but King was actually arrested by Las Vegas Police Department. Wow. So this is just not the way to do it. That's not the way to do it, Will.
No.
I am fairly confident that's not the way to do it.
Okay.
Congratulations! You just woke up into a timeline where tech news is a thing. Trust me, you don't want to see the other ones! Ah! Non-fungible tokens. That's right. Get your nifties here, people. They're hot, they're single, and hold on, what? That's right, NFTs are growing in popularity fast, particularly as a way to pay artists for ownership of digital art, with the latest evidence of the trend being the auction of one art piece for a record-breaking $69 million. Actually, it was like 60, but then the fees and stuff made it 69. Anyway, nice. Anyone want to buy the nice I just said? I heard 2 million for the nice?
1 million.
That's lower. The groundbreaking artwork was a piece called Everydays, The First 5,000 Days by Mike Winkelmann, aka Beeple, and is a collection of his daily creations over the course of 13 and a half years. It looks like NFTs may be the future of digital ownership, allowing you to buy everything from cool stuff like digital art to really dumb stuff like digital art, depending on the art. Or dumb stuff like Twitter founder Jack Dorsey's first tweet. I'm so salty about my Twitter still. At least the proceeds are going to charity. Just watch out for those bots that are generating NFTs for tweets with images they don't own. They're turning everything into NFTs. How do you know you're not an NFT already? PC gamers will have less cause to be frustrated with crypto miners soon, as developers for the Ethereum cryptocurrency network have approved a massive change to the way coins are mined, or rather, not mined, as the new system involves a proof-of-stake system, which simply gives people coins based on the value they have tied up in the network, rather than a proof-of-work system, which requires users to solve computational problems using GPUs to get currency. Predictably, crypto miners who have spent a bunch of money on GPUs to do the very thing that will now be obsolete are upset, with some making plans to disrupt the Ethereum network by a massive coordinated mining session on April 1st. But joke's on you. There won't even be a chance to use NVIDIA's mining GPU that looks like this. Shucks. The network change isn't scheduled until 2022, so this isn't going to help gamers get GPUs into their actual gamer hands or their PCs anytime soon. But in the meantime, you can always turn your settings to low, I guess. And in a huge surprise, other people on the internet also are mad about another thing. Hey, that's our internet. You may have heard about the vulnerabilities in Microsoft Exchange servers, collectively called Proxy Logon. I didn't know if it was going to be Logan or Lagoon or Logon. These vulnerabilities have been actively exploited by a group of 10 different hacking groups. Originally, a Chinese state-backed group called Hafnium was using the exploits, but eventually other groups got on board, leading to as many as 100,000 mail servers worldwide being compromised. Complicating things even further, independent security researcher, and I'm purposely saying this wrong, Nguyen Zhang, published a proof of concept of the exploit on GitHub, which is often done to help build a patch. But GitHub quickly took it down, since these flaws are being actively exploited, leading to a backlash among users who thought Microsoft, which owns GitHub, was just trying to protect its own Microsoft butt. Micro butt, tiny ass. Or maybe they're just shy. Guys, ever think of that? Not everyone is comfortable flaunting their exploits or their tiny butts for the world to see.
Show me your exploit.
Now it's time for the Quick Bits, brought to you by Seasonic, maker of power supplies that deliver ultra-efficient power to a PC in a way that's simply indescribable, unless you describe it the way I just did. The Seasonic Prime Ultra Titanium Power Supply is fully modular, has fluid dynamic fan bearings with hybrid fan control to mitigate noise, and comes with a PSU tester inside the box. It's got a 50,000 hour life expectancy and a 12-year warranty. Do I even have that kind of life expectancy? Stop holding yourself back. Buy it today at the links in the video description, or forever be bad at life. I don't make the rules. Quick Bits are just one of the ways that I love you. Tech YouTubers Hardware Unboxed have found that NVIDIA's GPU drivers can take up more CPU overhead than AMD's, meaning that in a system with a slow CPU and in certain game scenarios, a Radeon RX 5700 XT, that's last gen's card, can outperform NVIDIA's current flagship, the RTX 3090. What? What? What?
Yeah.
That's like me beating Riley at any game. Yeah, right, pal. What do you even...
Rocket
Anything else? We're having a Smash Bros tournament, and I'm not even good at Smash Bros, but as Samus, I could kill you. Turns out that Microsoft's wishy-washy talk about Bethesda games maybe being exclusive in some scenarios, but maybe not, was just about stalling for time until they could complete their acquisition. Xbox head Phil Spencer has confirmed that other than the currently scheduled PS5 games, all future Bethesda titles will be exclusive to platforms where Game Pass exists. So you better make that your platform, baby. Basically everywhere except on Sony and Nintendo consoles at this time. On the other hand, Game Pass now has 20 more Bethesda titles available, and they're surprisingly not 20 different versions of Skyrim.
Oh, I want to collect them all.
You can do that on one version with lots of mods.
I don't want that.
You can add more trees.
I want to play Pokemon.
Roblox, the game for children. That's only partially a joke. Only 14% of players are over 25. They've gone public. They're a big company now, giving the game's developer, Roblox Corporation, which sounds fake, a value of over $45 billion, making Roblox Corp, whose CEO is not Lex Luthor, more valuable than EA, Take-Two, and Ubisoft combined. Not combined. Maybe they can put more of that money towards making the characters less ugly. Like, seriously, they look so weird.
So weird. Have you seen them?
Ooh, let's hire someone who makes ugly things. And there were a bunch of hardware leaks, so now it's Leak Lightning Round. WCCF Tech has leaked benchmarks for the RX 6700 XT, and it looks okay. References to AMD's next-gen RDNA 3 GPUs, codenamed Nashira, were also spotted. NVIDIA's RTX 3080 Ti might be releasing in mid-April, complete with a crypto mining limiter. Woohoo! Slides showing Intel's 11th gen desktop lineup are right here. Look at them. You're satisfied. And the codename for Intel's 13th gen chips is apparently Raptor Lake. But they weren't really raptors. They were actually based on these other dinosaurs. Yeah. We won't have time. Now we don't have to talk about leaks for a while. Or dinosaurs, hopefully. And researchers from the University of Michigan have developed and tested what might be an unhackable chip. They call it Morpheus. No one can be told how hackable this chip is. More than 500 hackers, obviously, have tried to hack the chip for over 3 months, and so far, it has not yet fallen. Not sure if anyone's tried making it into an NFT yet, though.
That would work. Try it.
Those are flawless.
I've already done it.
Okay, I'm so over this. Come back on Monday for more tech news about other increasingly complicated ways for rich people to launder money.
There's so many.
Stop writing this propaganda into my mouth, man. I like NFTs.
Scientists find a natural protein that stops allergies and autoimmune conditions.
Huh.
I got this one for you, Will. You got the allergy, remember?
Yeah. I have the nut allergy.
Yeah, I solved it.
This protein?
Yeah, I solved
I
it.
just eat it?
That's right.
Okay.
No, they got to inject it.
Oh.
So it's not even just allergies, it's also autoimmune conditions, including things like lupus. Now, it's early stages right now. I believe they were testing it on, which mammal were they testing it on? Probably a mouse, wouldn't it be?
Yeah.
Using transgenic mice and cultures of cells taken from human tonsils, researchers have now found evidence of how our bodies might defend against the mistakes that result in conditions such as asthma, food allergies, and lupus. They found a protein called neurotin produced by immune cells, and it acts like an inbuilt boss-level antihistamine. That would be the drug you would take in order to combat an allergic reaction. So even those seasonal ones and things like this, with the pollens and
Right.
whatever sensitivities you got going on. There are over 80 autoimmune diseases. In many of them, we find antibodies that bind to our own tissues and attack us instead of targeting pathogens, that viruses and bacteria. This is how you get these autoimmune things to begin with. We found that neurotin suppresses formation of rogue plasma cells, which are the cells that produce the harmful antibodies. So here's what they do. They have to inject it. Mice without the ability to produce neurotin had an increased chance of dying from anaphylaxis, an allergic reaction. But TFR deficient mice treated with neurotin appeared healthy. Yes, so what they did is they injected neurotin into the veins and had the striking results. Now we have to wait and see. They got to find out what's going to happen, obviously, with the humans. They don't go straight to the humans, Will. It's risky. You go to the mice, you see how the mice make out,
Yeah.
and then Willie Doo's next in line.
Me?
Well, you got to get
No,
over.
they go with pigs.
Oh, okay. Go to a
Right?
pig and then go to Willie Doo,
Sure.
and just fix up the. Well, fix you right up.
I'm just scarfing down O. Henry's.
Yeah, they'll fix you right up.
Yeah.
Imagine. Oh yeah, let's say if your nut allergy was cured, what's the first thing you're gonna reach for?
Probably a chocolate bar.
It would be, right? They
Yeah.
had a lot of peanut-based chocolate bars. You're right about that. That's a good call. This next one is very bizarre. Would you ever imagine attempting to watch a Christopher Nolan film on a Game Boy Advance?
Would I? No.
Well, this guy did it sort of as a challenge. It's a YouTuber, fellow YouTuber. Hello, YouTuber. Wolf Den is the name. And he actually did it out of spite. Or at least he did it as a challenge because Nolan had said,
Theater.
you got to go see it in the theater. And people were like, I can't really get to the theater. It's 2020. A little bit tough.
Huh.
And then the movie tanked. And then Warner Brothers was like, oh, yeah, we're going to be dealing with HBO Max and all that stuff. And it's just Nolan hates it if you watch it on anything but the movie theater, right?
Yeah.
Which I get it, whatever. I mean, you spend so much effort on the thing that you want people to have the optimal experience. But then you get
so
guys
dark.
then you get guys like this that,
The
as a
screen.
joke, figure out how to put it on a Game Boy Advance just to bug you. Because that's what the internet does, right?
Yeah.
Crazy part here is it had to be split up into 5 different cartridges, I think.
Oh, right.
Wolf then shows in this video the perfect place to watch Tenet is actually on a Nintendo handheld in the safety of your own home. The movie uses 5 cartridges. Yeah, you can play a little bit of the video. It looks terrible. It's probably the worst way you could possibly watch the film. And he actually states that in the movie, or in the YouTube video himself. If there's any clips of the screen actually playing back the film, you can see it's so dark and low resolution. Yeah, go there. Oh, Christopher Nolan has nightmares about such things. I mean, he would much prefer you not to see the movie if this was the way you were going to watch it, right? Obviously. But there is a sort of a weird cool factor for me of this super old device displaying a really new high-end piece of content. I don't know what it is. It just feels a little novel, like kind of old meets new and retro tech, and I don't know. Maybe I just like the design as well of the Game Boy Advance SP, the little flipping thing. We don't have anything that looks like that in tech anymore. It was so simple.
Yeah.
So few buttons, and anyway, point being, look, he even got the stickers on the thing. That's an added touch, is it not?
Yeah. Kind of like part 2 of 5 kind of thing.
I mean, you're switching cartridges, so let's say it's a 2-hour movie, roughly. I didn't watch it yet. Is it a 2-hour movie?
Yeah.
Anyway, so you got to divide that by you're switching cartridges all the time.
Yeah.
All right. Shout out to Wolf Den on YouTube. What is not ridiculous is the map warfare. Because if you win the maps, I'm saying that's a huge advantage on the Google lifestyle right now.
Yeah.
Google Maps is a must for me. I got to have it. And when
You
I
don't
get...
use Apple Maps?
How?
You use an iPhone. You don't want to try it?
Are you nuts? That's a non-negotiable for me because I goofed with the maps, and I know Apple Maps has gotten better. I
Okay.
hear you, man. But I'm so intimately involved with Google Maps.
Okay.
Google Maps and myself, we're like this. That's us. We've been there for a long time. Many fond memories. Google Maps.
Okay. Good time.
No, I mean, look, neither are perfect, but Google Maps has had the edge. Now you have Apple trying to take the edge back. And I like I said, I think it's a major battleground. Apple, I don't think Apple likes the fact that they're behind. I think Apple needs to close this gap. If I'm Apple, if I'm Tim marching around the office and I go speak to the Maps guys, I'm like, what are we doing? We're behind over here. We got all this money. I hired you. You used to work for Google. I pay you what? I pay you this. We can't just have maps that are as good as Google Maps. We got to take it to another level. That's where we're at today.
Right.
Look at this innovative approach. I mean, we're talking about, look at the 3D rendering on here. It's about to be another level to it, isn't it? Detailed in a recent patent called Augmented Reality Display and explaining how AR could be used for easier navigation inside the car. Apple describes in its patent a way to provide navigation features to users with the help of an AR-based system. It can use a complex approach comprising everything from 3D models to pre-generated data, textures, and other geometry information. See how serious this is, Will?
It seems very serious.
They're going to put the video game in front of you.
Huh.
Next generation nav. I mean, just rendering the various navigation aspects onto the real world atmosphere. Now,
Yeah.
I know you got to know that Google's working on the same stuff, right?
Uh-huh.
They're not going to goof around. They got to figure this out too, but it is some ultimate nav status. I mean, we were talking about the Audi e-tron on the latest episode. They were doing more stuff with AR in the windshield as well.
Yeah, some sort of holographic display.
Like they were all of a sudden mapping the neon lines as far as the car that's in front of you. Better, like Mercedes is doing something similar too, where they're like better figuring out where to put the arrow for your turn.
Right.
It's not enough to just say, oh, it's left. Like I want to know, like I want to see right where the left is happening. And they've all been getting better with it. And you know these players, I mean, Apple is an interesting one as well, Will, because you heard of something. You heard of the rumors about this Apple car.
Yep.
You heard of these things. And so then you say, we got these patents over here. Then you say,
I'm just rubbing my belly.
That's right. That's right. It's very appetizing for a guy like you who see some stuff like that. Anyway, it's a battleground. Maps, and then AR with maps, and then Apple cars, and then nav, and all the rest of it. We'll see how it all maps out. Cool. Oh, I swear that wasn't on purpose.
Oh, right.
It wasn't on purpose, though, Will.
Okay, I got you.
See how it all maps out. We'll just see how it all maps out.
Slow clap.
No clap. Netflix is cracking down on password sharing. You see a ghost over there?
No, I was just making sure. Yeah, it's.
So you did. You need your own account to keep watching. Dun, dun, dun. Have you ever shared a Netflix account, Will? Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
Yeah, I mean, I use my sister's account.
Woo! Admitting it in front of everybody.
Yeah.
You're dead.
I'm getting cracked down.
Yeah, you're dead. They didn't crack down. They're
Canceled
going to
and
start
cracked
with
down.
you now that you've admitted it. Yeah. So they've been talking about this for a while, but people were questioning, all right, how serious are you actually? What are you really going to do? The streaming platform and production giant is attempting a trial crackdown by sending pop-up messages to those they think are watching by way of someone else's account. You haven't got a message yet?
I don't think so, no. I was using it last night.
Okay. The prompt tells customers, if you don't live with the owner of this account, you need your own account to keep watching. Ooh, shots fired.
Yeah.
And it's interesting language as well. They're essentially saying it's okay to share if you live in the same house. Yeah. Otherwise, and that's easy for them to track, right? You just got IP addresses and they know you're not at your sister's house.
Yeah.
So you're going to get one of these messages soon. In order to continue, you'll need to verify your account with an email or text code or create a new account with a 30-day free trial. These are the rules. This is what they're going to hit you with. The test is designed to help ensure that people using Netflix accounts are authorized to do so. So they're going to phrase it like, we just want to make sure there's no shady business going on.
Yeah.
But ultimately, you think of all the extra money that they're missing out on with the shared accounts. It's quite a few dollars globally.
Yeah, especially when there's price hikes.
So let's get down to the brass tacks, Willie Doo.
Uh-oh.
Let's get down to brass tacks. Netflix comes into gives you a little notification there tonight, because you're on there, kicks you out. It says enough. It's your sister's account and we know it. Here are your options. You're going to answer right now. You pony up, start your own account, pay the piper. You try to circumvent it somehow. I don't know. Talk to your sister.
Would ExpressVPN work in this case?
Hey, man. No, I don't think it would, because you would still be. Oh my God. Could you VPN to your sister's exact geography? I don't know. That's very precise, right? As far as an IP is concerned, I don't think it'll work. So forget that option. Here's the question: are you going to pony up the money, or are you going to live without Netflix if they hit you with that?
How much is it now? Do you know?
A few dollars, man. I'm going to say like $12 or something. I don't know, because I have the extreme advanced account that everybody uses. I have so many users on mine, and 4K, and mine is probably more like 15 or 16 bucks, I want to say. But I don't even look at it, to be honest with you. I'm going to guess that you're going to pay for a single user. Do you need 4K?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. How much Netflix costs? Oh, you're gonna pay.
These are Canadian prices.
Canadian price?
$9 and $18.
$9 to start, all the way up to 18. Now, depending where you are in the world, is different prices, but this is what you're facing. The top.
I would have to get the high price, right? 18 to get the 4K.
Spicy. What's your answer, sir?
Sure, I'll pony up.
Wow! Ladies and gentlemen, Netflix wins this round. He ponies up, and that means that. What does that mean?
Nothing,
I don't know.
Really.
Not much. I guess it means that Netflix plan works. They know you'll pony up.
Yeah.
See, it wouldn't work if you were sitting there saying, I only watch it because I got it on my sister's account. But you're not. You're watching it and willing to pay for it, so therefore they should be cracking down.
Sure. Yeah.
If you weren't willing to pay for it, then cracking down doesn't serve much of a purpose, because you're not going to be a customer anyway.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I mean? And then you wouldn't come in here and be like, Lou, did you see the thing on Netflix? And then I have to be like, okay, I'll go watch it. You know, see what I mean?
I don't
You're
watch Netflix.
Promoting
That's
exactly. You're promoting the platform as well, which
Yeah.
anyway.
Callum! Oh my God.
Vic, hurry up. Vic, it's okay. Bro.
Hello! The Sidemen are eating food again, can you believe it? But today, there is a twist. So you can only eat food from the country that you are from. There's no takeaways, you gotta cook it all yourself as well. We all took a DNA test to find out where our ancestors were from, and here are the results. So I am
After months of trial, even held water. That doesn't really sound very unfortunate.
Okay, I'm getting to that. In the midst of disassembling it, I got distracted by the camera falling over, and I fat-fingered the drill's direction. Lefty-loosey became righty-tighty, and I made a little crater.
Oh no!
Oh, it's otherwise perfect.
Yeah, she's dead, Jim.
Okay, but even though this is just a cosmetic sample then, we are confident now that we can build it, since, I mean, you did do it once.
I did what? It held water.
You just had to
I
crumble
was
your
so
head.
close.
You just had to crumble your head. What it means is we're confident that we can build it, which means we're not gonna have to resort to some kind of commercial off-the-shelf reservoir. We know we can rely on having this, and we can do the final layout for the rest of the parts, right?
Yes.
Confident.
Confident.
He's confident. Look at this guy. These 1U radiators from AlphaCool are super neat. They're actually designed for servers, but they've got some cool features that make them perfect for our use case as well. They've got the inlet and outlet on either side of the rad, and then check this out. You can chain them together in serial by using these end ports, or you can go in and out on this side. So what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna be lining the right side of the table, here we go, with these radiators. We just made a small oopsie and we only ordered one of them as part of our proof of concept, so you have to imagine that there's more of them over here. The only question is that gonna be enough radiator surface area? I think we're gonna have about the equivalent of a dual 120mm rad. And with the way that we're positioning the fans, we'll show you that in a minute, it should be enough for our spec. The idea here is massive positive pressure. We're gonna have 8 Noctua Industrial PPC fans with filters, basically creating this pressurized chamber in the case that's gonna cause the air to kind of passively whoosh over the components that need air cooling, like the motherboard chipset and VRMs, for example, and then exhaust through the only part of the table that's not sealed, which is gonna be the radiators. So whoosh, like that. When it came time to choose a power supply, while we did have a lot of options, most of them were absolutely terrible because you can get 1U power supplies. I mean, even fancy redundant ones. But the issue is they're designed for servers, which are not made to be quiet. So we went with one of these. This is an 800 watt DC ATX power supply from HD Plex. Super cool product, right? Because we've got enough power for a Threadripper and RTX 30 series graphics card, but passively cooled and super slim. These get used for all kinds of projects, from computers to AV to, I mean, pretty much any situation where you need a high power DC power supply. These guys are super cool. Of course, the thing about DC power supplies, that is ones with a 12 volt input and then 3.3, 5 volt, and 12 volt outputs, is that they still need to do the AC conversion from the wall. So for that, we're employing 2 of these 400 watt power bricks, also from HD Plex. These puppies, because they're kind of messy looking and because we want them to have access to fresh air, we're actually gonna put on the outside of the unit, on the underside. Now let's talk motherboard. Because, okay, I can't come up with a good reason for this. Because AMD sent it to me, I'm using a Ryzen 3970X on an Asus Zenith 2 Extreme. Is this the alpha or the non-alpha?
I think it's the alpha.
Non-alpha. It's the non-alpha, which is fine because realistically, we are not going to be overclocking this thing anyway. We had to make a couple of small modifications to the board. It was so close to being too thick to fit in our case, we actually had to remove the cover on the VRM fans here, as well as the cover on the I/O. So it'll look a little more industrial. Just like last time, we're gonna be setting the motherboard and the graphics card back probably about 1 inch or 1.5 inches from the edge. What this allows is, because the I/O's on the rear this time, some room for the cables to bend or have large connectors before they just butt right up against the wall. Now you might have noticed, if you're extremely keen-eyed, that this is a 3080. That is not the graphics card that we actually intend to use for the final project. We're gonna go with a 3070 just to keep power consumption under control. Oh God, we're gonna need custom cables.
Yes. Actually, they're Silverstone compatible, so I can get custom cable mod cables.
Perfect, so cable mod just...
Yep, easy peasy.
Fire that up for us.
Check the box.
While I may be on the record saying that I think the Lang DDC pump is a piece of shit, unfortunately, in a 1U enclosure, we just don't have a choice. So the next best thing to using a good pump, like a D5, is using 2 DDCs, so at least if one of them fails, you've got another one. So I'm just putting these here as like a placeholder for now. We're gonna have to tweak this a little. The last piece that I have to show you guys today is our water block. This is also from AlphaCool, and this thing is super neat. So not only does it have a large enough cooling plate for our Ryzen Threadripper processor, it has a total of 8 options for inlet ports and outlets. What that does is it allows us to put it onto the CPU socket and then figure out, with our RAN and our VRM cooling and all that stuff, how the heck we're gonna be able to get tubes in and out of it. I lied. There is actually one more thing. We've got 4 2-terabyte Crucial SSDs, with the intention being kind of to take up space as much as anything else, but also that'll give, 8 terabytes of, I mean, who cares? We could chuck them in RAID 0.
Yes.
Get that performance. 8 terabytes of solid state storage in addition to an M.2 boot drive. But, hear me out. I know you want this on the outside.
I do.
But could we put it here?
We could, but I really don't want to.
And this is just because of the distance that this 12-volt run has to go?
Well, we're putting a heat source next to the radiators. You see, like, if we have these on the outside of the case, then all this heat isn't input into the system. And we're already pretty tight on airflow in here.
That's fair. So this is, assuming about 90% efficiency, that's like, under full load, that's like 80 watts that we can have outside.
But under your realistic load, we're probably talking 40 watts. But even that,
do you really think airflow's gonna be tight? We got 8 cooling fans.
but we have a lot of pressure, we don't have a lot of flow. It just has such a small orifice to come out of.
I think you're gonna be surprised.
Probably, but I want to plan for less heat in the system. That's why we went with a 3070.
I wanted a 3080.
But then where would those go, right? I mean, we could move the rad down and then have them here, and then they're close to the SATA ports.
Yeah, we're gonna need tubing runs and stuff like this.
This area is fine. We're gonna use those little end connectors that I used for the stacking radiators video. So these will be tight. But
what we could do is we could go pumps, and then we could go drives here, actually.
the outlet port for the water block is in here, so there's no sense really having a pump out here.
Well, I couldn't help noticing that our reservoir still isn't actually manufactured.
Fine, I can change that. See, if I had done my job and made this right, then it would be set, and I wouldn't have to entertain these ideas.
You like my ideas, come on. Okay, so let's pull the cables off this for now.
Yeah, no, it's a mess with them.
This might seem crazy, but we're gonna be painting this for the finished product anyway, so drawing on it is not that stupid. So here's what I'm thinking. Right angle here, into the end cap here. Then we go straight out of here. Here we've got a height problem. This is lower than this. We go this way and then into here. We go out from here into the graphics card, out of the graphics card, and then out from here into reservoir. Very suboptimal from a filling perspective. It will take like an hour or 2 to fill this.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping to put ports in the actual desk and have a fill and a drain area.
I see. That is interesting.
We can also use these because they're just vertical, so we can put the fill funnel up here and just fill it.
Oh my God, you're a genius. So we can fill the res and flood the pumps so they don't run dry for the filling process.
Yeah.
Okay.
Build in the quality of life you want, right?
I did not think of that.
Well, you did.
You know what? Does teamwork make the dream work or what? Okay, so can you get me my little valve?
It's technically not the symbol for a valve, but I'll allow it.
Oh, sorry, you're right. That's the incorrect symbol for a valve. Let me fix it. There, fixed it for you. You know the reference, right? This is sick, man. This is
It's gonna be fine. I think it'll be, just not a nightmare and whenever you need to look at it again.
Oh, I'm so glad you used the word nightmare because I have one for you.
Oh, great.
We've been having some issues with the Aquantia NICs and our new switches.
Okay.
And this is an onboard Aquantia NIC.
There's no way we're fitting a 10 gig card without another riser.
What if it was here?
Well, how's that gonna fit, right? Why have you done this?
Well, Jake found the problem.
So Jake is my issue.
Blame Jake.
I do.
But I do need an add-in card.
Where's it gonna go?
Well, if it was here, we would just have another cutout.
There's a lot of cutouts. Because we're gonna have a cutout here, here, and this is supporting that huge sheet of glass.
We could do like a couple support pillars.
Little bogeys, yeah. Yeah.
I'm so excited right now. Now, hopefully I won't have to wait 8 months for the next part.
No guarantees.
One thing you never have to wait for, though, is my segues to our sponsors. Drop.com is featuring the Sennheiser HD8XX headphones. They're made in Sennheiser's German HQ/factory, which we've actually toured before, and it is amazing. And they're based on the HD800S, which is also amazing, but with some tweaks. It features a new blue colorway with added low-end extension and adjusted driver damping for superior audio balance. These adjustments were based on feedback from the audiophile community. If you're not familiar with the HD800 series, it's an open back design headphone, so it's got a really natural sound. And this version has a detachable 10-foot cable with 1/4 inch plug. You can pre-order yours today at the link down in the video description. If you guys enjoyed this video, you'll probably enjoy part 1 of this video, although you've kind of seen everything that we covered in that one. So maybe just check out the, the conclusion to our last. Do you like money? Better yet, do you like free money? Well, the value of Ethereum and other cryptocurrencies has rocketed so high that even if you're running an older PC, it could be worthwhile for you to start mining while your system is idle. So, NiceHash sponsored this video where we'll be showing you guys how you can mine on your existing hardware as an easy way to make a couple of bucks with almost no downside, especially while the weather's cold and you'd be paying to heat your house anyway. You're probably already familiar with cryptocurrencies, decentralized digital currencies with no direct tie to government-issued notes or coins, particularly if you already watched our mining series from a few years ago. But how many of you are actually doing something about it, particularly those of you with a graphics card that has 6 gigs of memory or more? It may come as a surprise, but if your power rates are cheap enough, thank you, PC Hydro, it's gotten really easy to tune your system to profitably mine crypto when it would otherwise not be doing anything. And conveniently, it's still winter, and a gaming rig is actually no less efficient for heating your house than an electric heater would be. But then there is the question of why bother? Didn't Bitcoin just have a major correction and we have no way of knowing what's going to happen to Ethereum now that ETH2 is live? Sure. But there's also almost a 2-year window for you to mine Ethereum normally until it's supposed to fully transition to a proof of stake system rather than proof of work. And yeah, Bitcoin is currently down, but also sometimes it goes up. So if the whole setup can be done in less than an hour, which it can, it's probably not a bad idea. Like subscribing, not a bad idea. Don't miss our upcoming GPU reviews. Now, NiceHash Miner has been available for years now, but it's also been a few years since we've talked about it, and they've made some pretty cool changes. In a nutshell, NiceHash built a system where you essentially sell your computing power to the highest bidder, who then uses it to mine a specific coin. They get the coins that are generated, and you get paid in Bitcoin based on current market rates. This is really helpful for folks who are looking to acquire Bitcoin, since Bitcoin now requires ASICs to be mined effectively. And of course, if you want something else other than Doge, you can trade for it on the exchange. Now, NiceHash isn't the only option, and large-scale commercial mining operations wouldn't use it. But frankly, we don't have much interest in helping those guys, and NiceHash has been our tool of choice for small-time personal mining for ages now. One of the reasons is that pretty much every piece of mining software requires you to either turn off your antivirus for all third-party algorithms or allow absolutely everything through, both of which are obvious security risks. By contrast, NiceHash's new Quick Miner is digitally signed and doesn't require any third-party software for overclocking, undervolting, or mining. And since it only uses their in-house developed Excavator miner and OC tuner, you don't have to grant permissions to any suspicious software. For those of you who are concerned about security risks, this should be a huge load off your mind. Of course, it does come with a drawback. With NiceHash's traditional miner, you can swap algorithms on the fly to make a bit more money by targeting the algorithm with the highest payout. Quick Miner only mines Ethereum using Dagger Hashimoto. With that being said, Ethereum is currently dominating the market, so it shouldn't be a huge deal for the moment. One of the other big concerns that gamers have about mining is, of course, wear and tear on their, especially right now, expensive graphics card. Now, as we demonstrated a few years back, there is no performance difference between a worn-out GPU and one that's brand new, at least as long as everything else is equal. The challenge here is that modern graphics cards dynamically adjust parameters that do affect performance, like core clock, according to thermal and power limits. And here's the thing, silicon does degrade over time, and the more heat and the more voltage, the faster it degrades. So we want to minimize both of those things. That's where QuickMiner's built-in automatic GPU tuning functionality comes in. So all we gotta do is go to nicehash.com/my/mining/rigs, and there's a yellow optimize button here. This is pretty sweet. So you can either light or medium optimize. Let's just go light mode. And then you can probably actually hear the fan profile change over there, but that's not the only thing that's happening. At the same time, it's going to undervolt and overclock the video memory to maximize the efficiency of the card.
Actually, they're reducing the core clock and then reducing the power target to match demand. It's not quite undervolting, but I mean, I guess it's close enough. They'll be getting to that a little bit later.
Now, it only works with 20 and 30 series NVIDIA GPUs, at least for now. But as long as you have at least 6 gigs of VRAM, you can also use their guides to manually tune your 10 series card. It should be noted that for now, AMD cards require an alternative overclocking utility. If you want even more efficiency, or if you're like, I'm heating my basement with this thing, who cares? You can right-click the system tray, go to OC Tune, and go all the way down to the bottom. This auto tune right here should be able to get you either slightly better efficiency or maximum balls to the wall speed.
Yo, what's up?
Here we have some videos of illegal Bitcoin mines that are apparently causing power blackouts. Now, this is in a place, Abkhazia, tiny disputed Black Sea territory, has hundreds of illegal Bitcoin mining facilities hidden in basements, villages, and shipping containers. Whoa. Officials in the tiny disputed Black Sea territory of Abkhazia are determined to show their crackdown on rampant mom-and-pop Bitcoin mining operations. Bitcoin mining has become big business, yeah, obviously, but it's wrecking their grid apparently over there. Well, I suppose it has the potential to wreck many. It all depends on what type of setup that the place happens to have, whether there's an abundance of energy or not. And that varies quite substantially from place to place. Bitcoin mining has become big business in the impoverished area. The digital farms are consuming so much power they've been blamed for rolling blackouts. And now the region is estimated to have more than one crypto mining facility for every 400 residents. How big is each facility? The Ministry of Internal Affairs announced in 2 YouTube videos this week it has raided a series of Bitcoin mining operations that were illegally connected to the power grid. Oh, stealing power.
Right.
Yikes. In one of the videos, a narrator announces that officials there had identified a large cryptocurrency mining facility in the village and several that were illegally connected to the power grid. They have taken down 8 mining operations in recent weeks. Actually, if you go down to the second video that's linked, I guess you went past it. Yeah, there you go. You can see one of them in action. This is a minute-long clip. Wow, look at how, in the basement with the stone floor and the metal gate.
That's crypto mining for you.
Wow, in the old building like that. That is so... What a future, Will. Holy cow.
Rundown house.
Yeah, like the house is barely standing, but it is loaded with crypto mining hardware. And I don't know if this one in particular, it looks mostly like ASICs, by the way. But I don't know if this one in particular is the illegal one. I presume it is, connected illegally to the power grid. Whoa. The citizens are like, I can't even watch TV with the blackouts. I can't even charge my phone.
Yeah.
Can't even have a hot shower. Our shower's probably gas operated. Anyway, so this is the type of thing going on around the world. People are talking about it, energy consumption. Obviously, it depends on where you are. Like I said, some places have abundant energy. It's not such a big deal elsewhere. It can be.
The wilderness is dangerous. It's the only area in the entire game where you can be attacked by other players and lose your items. There are quite a few things worth going for in the wilderness, since the idea of the wilderness is that risk versus reward factor. You don't go into the wilderness without accepting the fact that you can be killed. Back in the day, people used to love the wilderness.
Oh, hey, how's it going?
Died, essentially. All right, next up is the iPhone 12 durability ad. Which, that was another reason I had to move it to the front, because that was just too perfect, that transition.
I see, yeah.
Apple is currently promoting iPhone 12 durability in their newest ad. We just had the discoloration, but they're saying no ceramic shield and water resistance and everything else. So they put out this commercial, and in the commercial, it's a guy, a chef or a cook. It's called Cook, iPhone 12 Cook. He's more of a DIY, trying to learn how to cook type. And you definitely can't play the music, I'll tell you that right now. It is copyright city, I'm going to guess. I just heard, you know how you can tell when a song has been heavily licensed?
Yeah.
You just tell. It always has a certain punch to it.
Sure.
You're like, that right there is a big copyright deal.
Can we play the video, though?
Yeah, play a little bit of the video. So essentially, he's just being really rough with his cooking and with the phone. And so the phone is about to flop over here. It falls down. He cracks an egg. He gets it all dirty with the flour. See, it's buried under there. He picks it up. And he just shows very little regard for the health of the phone. He pours a bunch of milk all over it. I mean, he's a messy dude.
It seems like it.
Yeah. He's a messy dude, and it's the whole apartment, everything. It's a weird kind of look for Apple, because usually it's a very clean thing. But recently they've been playing around. It just shows very little regard for the health of the phone. He pours a bunch of milk all over it. I mean, he's a messy dude.
It seems like it.
Yeah. He's a messy dude, and it's the whole apartment, everything. It's a weird kind of look for Apple, because usually it's a very clean thing. But recently they've been playing around with this. I remember, I guess it was the iPhone 11. They were throwing a bunch of fruits and vegetables at it, and I think there's a way in which they kind of play up the cleanliness of their own thing when it's in the presence of the messiness of mankind.
But let me guess, this having this iPhone is just going to change his life. It's just going to make it better. It's going to be less messier.
It's a 30-second spot, actually, so it doesn't do any of that for him. It just is giving him his videos and giving him his social media, essentially. And then at the end of it, he rinses it off. It falls in the sink, and
so it's still messy.
Yeah, he's still messy, but the phone is clean.
Oh,
you see the psychology going on here. The phone has better hygiene than you do. You just rinse it off and start over. And then an interesting tagline at the end: relax, it's iPhone, which is kind of interesting to me, because it's like, am I supposed to know at this point that iPhone? Are you trying to tell me that iPhone is more durable than others that have the same similar durability ratings? Oh, I suppose you are. Relax, it's iPhone. You're trying to put that in my mind. So okay, fine. Then the little disclaimer on the bottom: water resistance may lessen through normal use. Rinse only when dirty. So they're kind of like, yeah, I know we just made it look like you should rinse your phone every day you're in the kitchen, but actually maybe chill out a little bit. Rinse it every so often instead of every.
They put it on the flat surface and not the charging port or something.
That too.
That
too. I mean, look, we did a story not long ago of an iPhone that was at the bottom of the lake for 6 months and survived. So these things are absolutely durable when it comes to water. That's to be clear. But they got to cover the legal ground and whatnot with the disclaimer. That's just what it is. You run a company at that scale, Will. You know this. I don't know if you've ever met this particular culture on YouTube or not, Will, but I did, probably because of the kids. They started getting interest in the Nerf weapons. Are they not weapons? Nerf toys, really. I don't know. Wait a sec. Are they? What are you supposed to call them? They're launchers, blasters. That's what they call them, blasters. You see, because you can't get too violent with it.
Sure.
Anyway, it brought me into this culture, and then I saw this Verge post, and I'm like, oh, I'm not the only one that was kind of interested in it. It's an entire modding culture, DIY Nerf modding culture, where these guys are doing incredible things with these blasters.
Yeah.
Have you ever encountered it before?
No, this is a rabbit hole.
You haven't
never
been
dived
down it?
into.
It's I'm talking replacing motors, replacing battery systems to either increase rate of fire, to either increase velocity in some cases, and also just for looks, they can make these incredible video game looking things.
Okay.
You can scroll down to one of the latest mods from, I guess, the feature interview from this particular article.
This one?
Out of Darts. Here's a Nerf mod which takes a rival weapon, and you're gonna think it looks fairly finished, but in the video, this guy's channel, by the way, Out of Darts, in the video, he's not even really satisfied with it. He's like, well, if I had my 3D printer, I would have done this more custom or that. This blaster here, Will, is not supposed to have these tubes on the side.
Right.
He increased the number of the amount of ammo it can hold by a substantial amount. Normally, it would just be housed in the chamber of the blaster. It's a Nerf Rival Zeus, and this mod gives it 108 balls, which you'll see him fire in a second. Now he talks about, okay, I don't know how stable it's going to be or how long this fan unit's going to run for. And maybe I'll burn it out. I don't know. But he's like, the fan units only cost this much, so I don't really care. And you'll see when he goes to fire here, this guy, I mean, there's no reloading necessary. He's got plenty of ammo for whatever battle he may encounter. Boom, boom, boom. Look at that, how they move through, get pushed through the tubes.
Oh, cool.
Anyway, this is just one guy. I've encountered very many as I've looked into it. And in some cases, they can get these things into some pretty tremendous rate of fire and pretty tremendous velocity. Up to like, I don't know, 150 feet per second type of thing.
I see, yeah. That's cool.
And some of them, Apple brand loyalty has hit an all-time high, according to this particular study, and Samsung loyalty took a little bit of a dive. So this was Cell SELLCELL that ran this particular study. It was a total of how many respondents? 5,000 U.S. smartphone owners, 2,000 each of iPhone and Samsung, so that gets you to 4,000, and the rest was split across other brands. These are the people that the questions were being asked of. The question they were faced with is whether or not they plan to buy another iPhone next upgrade. Same question for Samsung owners. Do you plan to buy another Samsung phone next upgrade? 91.9% of iPhone owners in that study said they would buy another iPhone when the next upgrade came around. That's a high percentage, and it's actually up from 2019. So, yeah, brand loyalty. I mean, this is 5,000 people, but in this case, brand loyalty sees a bit of a raise. As far as Samsung is concerned, 74% of Samsung owners said they plan to buy another Samsung model, which is down from 85.7 in 2019. So these are they're so close to one another that given the small sample size, you could almost say it's pretty much the same as it has been previously. And there's a number of factors that play into this. Particularly, the first thing to remember is we're talking about the U.S. market specifically. That's an important characteristic, well, of any study, but specifically here where smartphone markets around the world do differ quite a bit. A lot of iPhones. And then on top of that, the whole ecosystem component. If you are a Samsung user and you say, you know what, I'm not going to buy another Samsung next time around, the variety of potential other Android options available to you, and add Apple to that if you're thinking of shifting platforms, it's a tremendous variety there for you that you may perceive. However, if you are deeply entrenched in the Apple ecosystem from the standpoint of a variety of accessories or software products like iMessage that are exclusive to one piece of hardware, that's a little tougher to untangle yourself and move on. For a Samsung owner to transition to a Google product or an Oppo product or a OnePlus product, it's less friction than for a person to switch platforms completely.
Right.
So I just wanted to put that piece in there. The reasons that iPhone owners gave for sticking with Apple, they said they like the iPhone best. That was 65% said they had no issue with it. 21% said the ecosystem answer, which I just explained. That's a high percentage as well. 10% said switching from iOS to Android would be too much of a hassle. That's a real thing. I hear people say in real life as well. And 8% say they prefer to stick with what they know. So you can see all those answers are kind of in the same way, in a similar category. As far as iPhone owners who do plan to switch to Android, those people do exist. There is a small percentage of them. I guess it's like 9% in this study. They say the reason that they would switch would be screen, camera, battery, etc. Just better technology. It's 38% of the small percentage that are willing to. They prefer the design of other brands, 26.4%, or the latest model from another brand has more features than the latest model of my current brand, 12.9%. They also asked respondents to just pick their favorite smartphone overall. The 12 and 12 Pro Max were up near the top. S21 came in third. It's 5,000 people in the study. It does not mean that the whole world agrees with this. That study has never been done, will never be done. But we certainly do know that both of these brands have a loyal fan base. And what can you say? That's a brand value right there. Last Apple-related story of the day. Toyota president had a few words for Tim as far as making cars. And I don't know. I'm not surprised to hear it. It is a consideration. It is something different. There's a lot of talk where, even people like us would be like, yeah, Apple, go do the car. What are you doing? Go do the car. Right? Make a car already. And you forget some of the differences, or at least it's under publicized, some of the differences between the automotive segment and the smartphone consumer electronics segment. You drop your phone, sucks. Bad day. It's a bad day, but you move on. What do you do? I don't know. You get the screen replaced. It's cracked. No. Actually, I got to say, I got the later case going on.
You do.
And I'm just going to say something right now. This case does not exist as the ultimate in phone protection. That's not the point of it.
No?
No.
Okay.
The case exists to be the slimmest thing that you can put on your phone.
Uh-huh.
Right? I've made that statement many times. If you're looking for ultimate drop protection, this ain't it. But I'll just say, I'm testing out a new color, by the way.
Okay.
And today I dropped the phone, and I rarely drop the phone. I dropped the phone on the tile in the bathroom from about waist height. And it survived. It came down, and there's just enough material on that corner which stops the glass from making a direct impact. It's just absorbed just enough. So maybe it has more drop protection than I had imagined. And maybe I need to actually drop test the thing to see what it's capable of, because it truly surprised me that little tiny bit of Kevlar was capable of, in that exact circumstance, the way it fell and all the rest of it. So this was an unintended shout out, but a lot of people doing hard work over on the later case team. And Willie do want to give a shout out to his own colorway. Yeah, that's the Willie Do Blue, also known as Willie Blue. And somebody just bought one. You see it in the corner? Oh, yeah. Yeah, somebody just bought one. Shout out. You understand? They love it. Anyway.
What are we talking about?
Well, what we're saying is if you drop the phone, even if it goes catastrophically wrong, it ain't the equivalent of dropping your car. It ain't the equivalent, Will, of what happens if your car goes faulty, let's say. This is life and death, for real. Mm-hmm. It's a different level to it. And what did Tesla figure out whenever there was an issue with one of their vehicles? Because it was Tesla, all of a sudden it was huge headlines. Apple doesn't have to deal with those type of headlines. I mean, every so often a phone explodes in a pocket or something, but it's small time compared to if somebody lose their life. Mm-hmm. If somebody was on that highway in Apple's autonomous car and it didn't do something right, now it's a whole different level of regulation and scrutiny and headlines and all the rest. It's just cars, man. Cars, recalls, safety belts, airbags, safety testing, highway safety, highway insurance act variety of things.
Yeah.
So Toyota guy comes out and says, Apple is cool what you're up to. Come step in the game. Lovely stuff. Cars are cool. He says, but just realize it's a 40-year situation. Just realize that you're going to be supporting this stuff for a long period of time. He says Apple should be prepared to offer support for Apple car models for 40 years. What? It makes you realize how long the car business has been going on and the smartphone business is fresh. It would be the equivalent of Apple offering support to, I don't know, an Apple II or something. Like it's out of control. Now, obviously, people are holding on to cars not quite as long as they used to. People are refreshing those things relatively quickly, but you're still holding on to it longer than your smartphone in most cases. You will see 20-year-old cars on the road. It does exist.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine a person using a 20-year-old phone. What even is that phone? That brings you to 2000. What do you have? I don't know. It's not a smartphone. It's like is it a smartphone? No. It's like one of those Nokia type things, right? Yeah. It's the 3310. I had it.
Really?
Yeah, man, I had it.
It debuted in 2000.
I had it. Now, if somebody was driving a 20-year-old car, you might look at it and be like, well, A to B gets you there. But if you saw a person that's using the Nokia 3310, you would be in shock. Oh, I'm sure some people are using it. That thing was a tank. You know it.
Yeah. People
Anyway.
use it as a weapon.
So Toyota president, he was just doing an interview. He wasn't trying to take any shots. He just says, consider this, that the automotive is a little bit different than the smartphone or consumer electronics game. Be prepared for everything that comes with it. Paying attention, providing support, pushing the recalls. I'm not saying Apple can't do it. I'm just saying something to consider.
Well, top of the morning, everyone, and happy St. Patrick's Day. However you celebrate...
Happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. If you haven't Guinness, then put it up to your friends and have some cold cannon and some black stew. Slay to you,
Intel has officially unveiled their Rocket Lake 11th Gen desktop processors, ranging from the 8-core i5 11400T to the 8-core i9 11900K. And if you're thinking, that's only a 2-core difference, Madison, you think I don't know that? Don't interrupt me. Intel has backported their 10nm Cypress Cove architecture to 14nm Silicon for these parts, giving them higher single-core performance, but preventing them from squeezing more cores in. If you want more details, there's even more people who've published reviews of some of the chips before they were supposed to, because screw the mainstream narrative, you know?
Who needs it?
Intel's certainly trying to make their own narrative by hiring successful actor Justin Long, aka the Mac guy from those old Mac vs. PC commercials, as just like a real person being paid to do a real comparison between Intel-powered Windows laptops and MacBooks, after Apple switched from using Intel processors to using their own in-house chips. I mean, sure, you could call it a petty and desperate move, because it is. You could have at least hired John Hodgman too. Come on.
He's hilarious. You know John Hodgman.
No.
The Hodge Man. Hodgepodge. He's got a great podcast. He's got a podcast. Does he? Yeah.
AMD's Radeon RX 6700 XT officially launches tomorrow, but today, reviews for the graphics card went live, including Anthony's over on the Linus Tech Tips channel.
Oh, I love him.
He's the best. He's so nice. He's so cool. The consensus seems to be, once again, that if you could find it at MSRP of $479 USD, it would be an okay option, if there isn't an RTX 3060 Ti available. Although AMD still doesn't quite seem to have a handle on how to trace rays as well as Team Green. To be fair, they go very fast. It's hard to keep track of them. Whoa! Ugh! And we're in the Matrix, the thing where they do the time with the bullets. But as Hardware Unboxed pointed out recently, if you've got a slower CPU like a Core i3, you might be better off with the GPU from AMD instead of NVIDIA because of driver overhead. If you do need an RX 6700 XT pronto, they're apparently already being sold in the Czech Republic. But if you're a crypto miner, don't listen to what I just said because NVIDIA's first mining focus card, the CMP30HX, is also now available. Please ignore the fact that it's much worse for mining than the average gamer card. Go buy it! It's over there!
Where?
And TikTok, my favorite app, is trying to find a way around the anti-tracking features built into Apple's upcoming iOS 14.5 in a couple of different ways.
Is it actually your favorite app?
No.
Okay.
In China, TikTok's parent company, ByteDance, and other domestic corporations are testing a system called CAID, which would allow them to track and identify iPhone users instead of being forced to ask for permission by Apple's own IDFA system. In America, TikTok is removing the options for its users to opt out of personalized ads altogether, which actually brings them in line with most other social media apps. But I thought TikTok was better than this. They have all the cool dances and the memes. We love that stuff.
That's my favorite meme stuff.
As for Apple's anti-tracking feature, whether other businesses like it or not, it looks like it will roll out. As France's competition authority ruled, the feature was not an abuse of Apple's dominant market position. You think Apple doesn't know that? France? They're dominant? You said it yourself.
Sit down!
Wait, I feel Riley's presence.
Now it's time for Quick Bits, brought to you by Storyblocks and their massive library of stock footage, images, audio, and After Effects templates. Look, if you're a video creator, you're a storyteller. And the story I'm telling you is that Storyblocks can help you bring your stories to life without sacrificing your time, budget, or resources. They have affordable subscriptions with unlimited video and audio downloads and even an in-browser video editor so you can get back to creating more of the content you love. We use it on TechLinked almost every episode because there's over 1 million different stock assets, and if we had to go film an actual real-life robot every time I make a joke about AI eventually killing us, that would actually happen before we finish the video. Stop AI from killing us. Check out Storyblocks today at storyblocks.com/techlinked or at the link below. If you don't check out Storyblocks today, a robot is going to murder me tonight. Help!
Quick Bits, they taste just as good as soup with a little seasoning. Google is reducing its Play Store commission fee from 30% to 15% for the first $1 million a developer makes each year. The move comes after Apple announced a similar policy in November, but only for developers that make less than $1 million per year. Google's policy applies to every developer. After hearing the news, Epic Games reportedly dropped all their lawsuits against Apple and Google because this changes enough for them. JK, they didn't. They're still mad.
Stay mad.
Stay mad, bros. Xbox head Phil Spencer said Microsoft wasn't interested in making an Xbox VR headset. But if that's true, then what the heck is going on with this screenshot of an Xbox UI taken by IGN Italy that says the VR headset needs to be updated? In Italian. Mamma mia! You cannot put the head on the head. The head is set and needs to go on the pasta. Is Xbox working on a VR headset? And if so, is Phil Spencer even the head of Xbox? How can a box have a head? Let me know in the comments. Huawei's been hit pretty hard by China's trade war with the US, so the company has resorted to patent trolling. Huawei will charge smartphone companies for the use of its patented 5G technology because it's gotta make money somewhere. Wait, were they not charging for it before? Aw, Huawei. We should be friends with them again. That was weird to read. Star Citizen, the highest funded crowdfunding game project of all time, has just crossed the $350 million mark, with 2020 being its most funded year ever. Oh man, they've got tons of money now. That's probably enough to get the game out this year, right? I hope so.
I'll be playing it for Christmas.
That's the Indiana Jones theme song, not a Christmas music. And it was only a matter of time before brands hopped on the NFT wagon. Toilet paper company Charmin is selling NFTs of artwork, if you could call it that, depicting fancy toilet paper rolls. Proceeds from its NFT sales are going to the Direct Relief charity. But still, I did not expect NFTs to jump the shark this early. Hey, that's blockchain, baby. Hey, that's showbiz. And we have to block this episode from getting any longer, so come back on Friday for more tech news, independently validated by a network of connected machines instead of a central server. It tastes better that way.
When I first started playing RuneScape, most of the bots around were simple. They picked flax and they banked. In this video, I want to showcase some of the bots I found.
Speaking of app development and app-related news, how about this article? Which apps are most likely to be sharing your personal data and how much? Now, you want to take any guesses before we scroll down? Did you read this article?
No, I didn't.
Don't take any guesses. The number one app. Can you name the number one app that's sharing the most personal data from you if you use it?
Say Facebook?
You're close. It's Instagram.
Instagram.
And it's Instagram by a lot. Number 2 is actually Facebook.
Oh, okay.
Some might be surprised to find out that
Is
it's
WhatsApp
actually
number 3?
It's actually Instagram that's more leaky than Facebook. Like, that's kind of surprising. You would think.
Yeah.
But Instagram is just this shopping machine. It's just, if you've ever had this experience, I mean, obviously these companies, they trade data. And you've had this experience where you were Googling a product and then you're scrolling Instagram. It's like, oh,
Right.
there's that product.
It's very specific.
Yep. And
it's actually kind of scary.
yeah, and if these two, if you're thinking about, okay, what does the data set look like that Google has? Well, okay, that's one thing. You look in there and you see it can map your age and this and that and all the rest of it. But then you think, oh, what if all these companies pool that data together? Now, how comprehensive is that picture of myself that they have?
Yeah.
And so this matters to advertisers. It matters to sellers of goods. They want to know as much about Willy Do as possible so they hit you at the right time, the right moment with the right thing.
And it works.
And it works. And then you end up pulling the trigger and buying things.
Oh, man.
So 52% of all apps that they studied in this particular test, by the way, the website peakcloud.com, 52% of apps in this were sharing data with third parties as a whole. There's a nice little chart, and you're probably going to have to zoom into it, though, that showcases what exactly is being shared and how much. So percentage of personal data collected, contact info,